Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with If I Could Choose Only One Work by composer X, it would have to be work E. Well, composer X is Frederick Delius. Yes, Delius, that composer who hovers on the fringes of the repertoire, largely due to the work of conductor Sir Thomas Beecham, and who has otherwise been, pretty fairly neglected. I mean, thank God for the English music mafia, because if it weren't for them, nobody would have recorded anything of his. And it's kind of a shame, because Delius, Delius has this reputation. He has this reputation for being a sort of composer of post-Wagnerian chromatic dreaminess. Soft-edged, smushy, swoozy, nature-inspired, gentle, kind of evanescent nothingness. I mean, evidence of the nothingness is everywhere. I mean, even when I moved here, I've got all this stuff here. I have a pile of Delius CDs. I have no idea where they are. They seem to have vanished into the ether. I mean, they're around somewhere, I'm sure. But it really is a little bit difficult to get a handle on Delius, especially because he tends to write, pieces that are sort of large orchestra, big tone poem things that are sort of formless and they just sort of meander from here to there. They're very beautiful quite often. He's written everything. He was a major composer in the sense of he dabbled in every possible type of music. He wrote operas, he wrote big choral works, he wrote tone poems, he wrote string quartets and concertos. I mean, he didn't write a symphony, but other than that, I mean, everything is well represented in his output, and he just sort of came and went, and not too many people took notice. But I think we should notice, and I think the evil god Cankrazan should notice, because Delius stands in for all of those composers who had an extremely personal style, but who will never be popular, but who deserve to be heard and whose music deserves to be enjoyed by those who have the capacity or the wherewithal or the time to get to know it. And, there's no reason just to eliminate all of what he wrote, but for one work. But I have to choose one. And I have to choose the one that's going to persuade the evil god Cankrazans that the rest is worth saving. Now, some of you have had some terribly harsh things to say about Delius. I mean, we did the, music I could do without thing, which brought out the worst in everybody. Oh, that was so much fun. Delius's name popped up fairly frequently. And I'm not really sure why, to be honest with you. There's nothing to dislike about it. You might not want to listen to it all that frequently. I mean, the most popular piece by Delius is, of course, the On Hearing the First Cuckoo in Spring. Now, I've never heard a cuckoo in spring or any other season. I've never been particularly fond of that piece. It's part of a duo, a diptych. One is something like Summer Night on the River. I don't know. There's another one that goes with it. They're both kind of slow and pleasant and droopy. But, on hearing the first cuckoo, first whatever it is, it's cat playtime. On hearing the first cuckoo in spring, begins with a tune that sounds like Goodbye Old Paint. The Western song, Goodbye Old Paint, I'm leaving Cheyenne. Well, I can't even sing it. It's morning. My voice is shot to shit, pardon me. But it is. Anyway, so, it starts like that. And then somewhere along the lines, you hear this thing going, cuckoo, cuckoo. Not for me. So what about, one of his big choral works like Sea Drift on poems by Walt Whitman? Many people acclaim that a masterpiece. I guess maybe it is. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think something vocal or with voices is appropriate because he spent a great deal of his career writing for voices. He wrote a whole pile of operas that nobody particularly cares about. But I think Seadrift is a little bit too, oh, how shall we say, hardcore Delian, maybe. I don't know. I mean, we have to choose the most typical work by him, and I'm not sure that is. It's kind of a special case, but we could argue about that, right? No, my choice is well, what is my choice? It's so Delian I can't even remember what it is. No, I remember. It's A Song of the High Hills. Yes, not one of his most popular or better known pieces, but one that encapsulates everything that he did. A Song of the High Hills has a wordless choir. You get voices in the distance going, ah. You have to have that. It's all about nature, especially the sort of North country, the Nordic lands, which is what he was enraptured with. He was friendly with Grieg, for example, and he did stuff about Norway and, that kind of thing. He lived in France for most of his life, actually. But, Norway and the North and England and that part of stuff, it is not completely lacking in musculature. It really isn't. But by the same token, it has all of that sort of rapturous nature intoxication, which is Delius. I mean, that's what he did. And he did it as well as anybody. You have to take him for what it's worth. And the question is, this isn't about what you like and what you don't like, right? It's about what music is important, what music is characteristic, what music expands the repertoire of what human civilization accomplished. And Delius's music does that in a personal way. It's not a style for everybody, but at what he did well, nobody did it better. And what he did well was meaningful. I really believe that. And so I choose A Song of the High Hills. And if you want to disagree, that's fine. But in order to do that, you've got to listen to a lot of Delius. And I don't think that many people did that. I mean, some of you, of course, you're special. You may have. But it's a niche, and one worth getting to know, I think, for special occasions, maybe not every day. But when you feel up to it, Delius is quite something. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.